It is Tuesday night. It is US Fan TV. Hello, I am Pat.
Two of
He,
the worst nights of your week.
I mean, they're really the only two, unless you're like hungover, passed out in a gutter on Saturday night, shattered dreams in the rain. It's Tuesday night and Thursday night, then really, that's it. So, I am Pat. He is Chris.
That I am.
We have some things to talk about, but not lots of things to talk about, and not many things that we're greatly passionate about. So it might be a shorter show tonight, but we'll see. We're going to try to bring a little more energy, though. I felt like our last show, kind of crap.
Was kind of all over the place.
Yeah, kind of all over the place, kind of crap. I didn't really like it. So we're going to try to do better, which is, is shouldn't be that hard, but we'll see. Things happened today involving our boy. I went out saying we shouldn't talk about Christian Pulisic as much in our next show or Dortmund, and then I realized that today was the day they were going to play Real Madrid in the Champions League, and you kind of have to. So we kind of have to talk about it, but it was kind of uneventful for our guy. He only played, 11 minutes or something like that. Didn't really get the chance to do a whole lot. Like I said to you off air, if you had told me 2 years ago that we would have a 19-year-old kid playing against Real Madrid in the Champions League, I would have been like overjoyed. But at this point, it's kind of depressing, kind of irritating. I think that he didn't start. I think they would have done better. Madrid was obviously the better team today, but they're the better team in pretty much all situations ever. But that said, Dortmund got screwed with another missed call, that handball, and I get it. It's going fast. Maybe the ref missed it. It's not CONCACAF. It's not like it's possibly bought and paid for or anything, but it's refs miss things. I don't know how everybody missed it, but to me that's a definite call because his arm was up. You and I don't like it when they call them when the arms are down, but if your arm is up like that and you're actually blocking it from going over the goal line, I think that's a handball in the box, and that's probably a red card in my book.
Yeah.
And that was missed. Obviously, if that goes down, Dortmund goes up 1-0, and Madrid's playing with 10 men. Who's to say what would have happened? So it's strange that 2 straight games for Dortmund, they have some bad calls go against them. If these games were in the Bundesliga,
3-1.
yeah, if they were in the Bundesliga, certainly today's would have been corrected with VAR. I don't know what would have happened at Wembley, but I don't think that Aubameyang was offside. Definitely on the second disallowed goal. So things might be different, but it looks like for now they may be headed to the Europa League. Although you and I, being Arsenal fans, are used to seeing a team go down 2 games in the Champions League right away and have to claw and dig their way back to.
Only 6-2 though.
That's true.
Not 10-2. So.
So they maybe can do something. Obviously, a couple of the tougher games are out of the way at this point, so we'll see. Hopefully, they can turn it around. They're killing it in the Bundesliga right now. But and Pulisic was named to the Bundesliga Team of the Week. I believe he did not have a goal or an assist in that blowout win over Mönchengladbach, but he looked good nonetheless. So good for him. They're rolling in the Bundesliga. They're just struggling in the Champions League. So, but we'll take it. We've got a player playing in the Champions League against Cristiano Ronaldo and Real Madrid. That's not so bad. That's something we usually
realistically playing meaningful minutes, even if not starting. And I don't know that you could say he wasn't starting today because it wasn't important or anything. I assume it's more based on the schedule, but
right. In hindsight, it was not the right call. I think he may have been able to do a little bit more. I don't know that they would have won, to be honest. So maybe it's fine, but get him a little rest, and hopefully he's not broken heading to when we need him. But still a little disappointing that he didn't get the start. I would imagine he would then over the weekend. We'll see. But yeah,
I would agree. I would concur with.
I would concur. Hey, do you know what else we have? I should see. I don't have your the viewer comments. There we go. I have them turned on now. So that's better. Yes, they might be in the Europa League facing off. Here. I'll throw out this hypothetical. You know where I'm going with this. Before we talk about the new kit leak, Dortmund drops to the Europa League and they face off against our beloved Arsenal. Who are you pulling for? pulling for our guy, or are you pulling for our club?
I mean, I would still go club. Good play for good showing for Pulisic.
Yeah.
I had kind of written Arsenal off about a month ago after that fiasco of a summer, or at least in August. Yet again, I know maybe just all summer. I had kind of said, you know what, I'm just done. I'm not spending any money on this team. I'm not going out of my way to do anything until they can show that they care, because I'm not going to keep actively like going out of my way actively to support a team that kind of doesn't support me. But I don't know, stupid fandom, fanaticism,
That's
whatever.
what happens. Yeah. It looked okay.
They start playing a little bit better, and I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, I'm kind of in again. I'm still not spending money, but
that's fair. That's fair, and that's the only thing. I mean, it's not like you're going to have an impact on Stan Kroenke, but
to me,
it's the idea of it. It's the principle of it. Yeah, that's the only thing you can.
I do a lot of things just to stand on principle, and that's one I will do.
Speaking of spending money, are you going to be spending money on our new World Cup kit? Assuming we make the World Cup and we have a World Cup kit. The design was leaked, and Chris can talk about it while I pull it up and show you.
Yeah, the new American Airlines kit.
Yes, we were calling it the American Airlines kit. I'll show you why here in a second. You killed my punchline there.
Sorry. Yeah, we've seen the white mock-up, a blue one too for. There we go. Now you see it.
There it is.
This is all right. One of the yeah. I mean, I like that we've gone with some stripes again. I kind of like the pattern in it. It seems like a modern attempt to possibly look at what waving might look like. And now we saw an American Airlines look at the tail fin.
Look at the tail on the new American Airlines livery. It's basically the same thing. There it is. So we're calling it the American Airlines jersey. I think United is still a official sponsor of U.S. Soccer, so they may want to switch that up after this jersey drops. But if this is real and that looks like it's real, I would buy that. I like the the half hoops there. Might be cool if they went all the way through. I'm not sure. I like the that the shoulders don't have obnoxious stars on them or anything like the Gold Cup kit.
That was the one thing that was a little too much about the Gold Cup kit. This is much better. The blue or the away, if you've seen it in one of the other mock-ups, it's not bad. I mean, it's perhaps not as good as this, but yeah, I do like that there's, I don't know, something akin to actual flag styling to this.
Yeah, it's got our colors. It's got the correct colors pretty much. I mean, that it goes lighter there in the blue, but it's still fine. It looks like a jersey that the U.S. would wear. I like it. I'm assuming it comes out in a replica and we don't have to spend $155 on an authentic again, Nike. I will get this. I like it. So put me down for a Pulisic 10 right now. And hopefully we actually play in the World Cup next summer so we can see these things on the field.
Yeah, what happens if our games in 2 weeks don't go the way they're supposed to, and week and a half and 2 weeks, I guess now.
The mock-ups get sent to like some African village.
Yeah.
Because you can't send them to Central America because they won't like them. So
it'll look like the losing Super Bowl T-shirts, which I heard they don't do anymore.
They don't do that anymore?
I heard they stopped.
Jim has a good point. If this show made a lot of money, I would buy a Wando 10 and throw it up behind me just for fun. So if this gets that's what we can all strive toward.
That's your incentive to follow us and to get as many of your friends to do so as well and watch.
I think, speaking of spending money on things, we're going to have US Fan TV T-shirts available very soon. Just be me getting around to actually doing it, but look for that. So hopefully on Thursday night's show, I'll have something to show you. It'll be like $80. I think that's fair.
They'll run size small. You'll have to.
Yeah, I think it's fair. It's $80, and if we sell enough of those, I will buy a Wando 10 jersey.
$480 T-shirts, and we are joking. We are joking. This is a joke. They're not going to be $80 sweats.
Did you guys make money from getting a few vids? We haven't actually made any money yet, but it's very exciting. In October, we will receive our first check from Google AdSense for doing this for an entire year. So good for us. It's finally the shows, when they do well, they make a few bucks. So it's better than nothing. We would do it for free either way, but it's better than nothing. So
yeah, as we've said, this is kind of what we did anyway.
Yeah.
We just decided to do it on the internet and let people watch us make fools of ourselves.
It's still amazing to me too, because literally nobody watched.
Yeah.
Like it was like you and I were just talking to each other, and then it was Christian who first watched from Courage D videos, and we were like, do we have a viewer comment? What do we do? And now we can turn on the button, and you guys are here every single time, and it's very cool. It blows me away. But so thank you for that. And there's lots of new guys too, lots of new men and women and probably children who are watching. We crossed the 700 subscriber mark. We've picked up like 150 subscribers in the last month. So yeah, I mean, if we actually make a World Cup, if we actually make the World Cup, I would love to see what this thing does next summer, when all those new people sort of come online.
When there's real stuff to talk about, and and people are really there. Whose comment? Christian, what role do you see MLS playing with the national team going forward after Bruce Arena? I don't think it'll really change. I guess it could depend on maybe who the next coach is. If it turned out to be someone like Oscar Pareja, maybe you'd see greater MLS influence. I don't know. I think MLS is going to continue to be a stepping stone for the top players. You'll still see guys come back like Michael Bradley, who may come back a little bit too early, but it's because the money's kind of too good and they want the lifestyle. They want their family together. They don't want to jump from country to country, whatever. But as long as you're kind of seeing the overall rising tide, you'll still see, I would say, more guys taking the leap to Europe and using this as a first club or a place to get recognized, with the hopes that they can return later on. What does that mean for the national team? I think it's pretty much the same that it does now. You may see some of the backbone or some of the back end of the regular roster out of MLS, but I don't think you're going to see. It's not like the next starting guys are all going to come out of MLS. Maybe in the next year or two, just because I do think we're probably looking at a pretty heavy turnover following this next World Cup.
Yeah.
And some of those guys are very young, and you could see guys like maybe Andrew Carrollton or something coming out of MLS. Maybe like they may still move on to Europe, but they're still new enough, young enough, and new enough to professional sports or to a professional contract that they haven't gone to Europe yet.
Yeah, and that's
so in that regard, maybe in the short term, MLS may be more heavily represented, but I don't think for the MLS lovers, for the MLS haters, I don't think you're going to see a huge change in, say, the next 5 years or something. You may see individual spikes one way or the other, but I don't think overall you're going to see a huge difference. You'll just see a progression, I assume, of players using it, like I said, as a stepping stone.
MLS keeps getting better in small increments, but it's not going to be the top 5 league that they said it would be by 2020 or whenever they made that prediction. So it's ideally, and I think this is what we would like to see at this point. What seems to be working is if we can identify our young talent quick enough and get them to a place like Germany to develop, we have a better chance of developing them into better players than in MLS academies or especially in college. Um, College is a lower option at this point. And I still think that you're going to see a guy or two come through the NCAA, like Jordan Morris, go to MLS and then get good enough that he can play for the national team. But I would like to see more often than not, those guys are going to Europe at a young age and developing there because we don't do a very good job developing after like 17 here, it seems. For every Kellen Acosta, there's several failures. So I'd like that to be the path, and MLS still serves its purpose there, but I'm more of I mean, it sounds like Jurgen Klinsmann, but I want our guys challenging themselves at a higher level and hopefully learning more and getting better. And I think that Europe, specifically Germany, but the Netherlands or something like that for other guys is probably the right move. But if you're a guy who is borderline and you're just not going to make it, you're not going to latch onto a roster, maybe you are better off sticking around with an MLS team or trying to play college or something, and then kind of jump starting your career. So we've seen guys like we've talked about Danny Carvassian, who was at Arsenal, who had went there. He scored a goal in a League Cup game, got hurt, and was never the same. If he takes a different path, goes to a club that wants to develop youth, or maybe if he went to DC United or something like that, maybe he would have had a lengthy national team career, and that just comes down to luck more than anything. But yeah, so it's not the right move for everybody, but I would like to see that to be the path for most of our young talent, and hopefully we can identify who they are. And I think we're doing a better job at that than we used to.
That's not too hard, considering some of it was not not especially well developed before. The one thing, and this I guess could lead to more MLS involvement, is that if you have things like if we don't make the World Cup, I think suddenly all those guys who are sitting on the fence of I could play for Mexico or I could play for the U.S., and maybe this goes for other countries too, but in particular, the U.S.-Mexico battle probably are lost to Mexico. And that probably means then that we have to turn to other places for talent. And, where's the bulk of where most of the Americans playing? That's MLS. So in that regard, I guess you could see a higher percentage, but I think overall, like I said, we'll just continue to see the path. Jules has an interesting idea. If we beat Panama and TNT and the November dates are then free, should the U.S. play Puerto Rico in back-to-back home games and have all the revenue go to disaster relief funds?
That's a great idea.
That's actually a really cool idea. I think you should send that to CONCACAF or USSF or both and suggest something like this.
The amount of natural disasters we're raising money for at this point is insane. You have Houston.
Yeah, the last couple of months have been
You have
nuts.
Mexico City. You have all of the Hurricane Irma victims like St. Martin. And then you have the hurricane that hit Puerto Rico and just buzzsawed it end to end. I feel sorry for, like J.J. Watt was able to raise all that money for Houston. I actually feel kind of sorry for the victims, whether it be Mexico City or the other hurricane victims that came after that, because I think people hit a point of if you gave a bunch of money to Houston, you don't have any more money, discretionary dollars to give to victims of hurricanes and things like that. I wonder if they're getting screwed because of that. Certainly, it seems like it's off the president's mind. He did talk about it today, though, I believe. So hopefully, they're getting the help they need. But Puerto Rico is definitely not getting the coverage. I think Mexico City had more coverage in the U.S. than Puerto Rico has had. So
I think that's probably fair.
It's just crazy. So yeah, if we could do something like that, and it would be nice to take those 6 points, and then if we could do something like that and do some friendlies and raise some money, that would be pretty cool. What else, guys? What else is going on? We have there's Danny Williams news.
Well, while we were on MLS, I was going to note the Bill Hamid news and
let's do that. Yeah,
discussion we've had. It looks like DC United is trying to screw him over. He's not given any indication that he's going to sign another contract with MLS. That would probably indicate he wants to take a shot at going overseas. And when European scouts were in the house last week, or is it now? I guess that's now last week. Um, they benched him. Now the team claims that they did it to just examine future possibilities or something because they're such a crap team that hey we're just going to try some things out.
Yeah,
Except
it's
they didn't.
bullshit.
They didn't try things out. They really only tried things out at keeper, and they went with I can't think of his name, that dude who had that crap basically just about an own goal in the 2015 MLS Cup. Um, you know this you don't turn to a 31-year-old if you're really looking at the future. You don't go to a guy who's even older. You would have gone with someone young if you were truly doing this. So it looks like they're just trying to screw him over in possible contract talks, or in letting scouts see him. I don't get any of it, but I don't know if that helps him or hurts him with the national team right now. I don't know if maybe Bruce might try to help him and get him a run out. I don't see him getting a call up necessarily right now, like for these next two games. But I don't know. The third goalie is probably open.
Yeah.
So maybe, in which case, even if he's not seen, there's some cachet to being called up for your national team. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems like the team is unnecessarily screwing over their best player.
Yeah, and for what? He's been good for them for a very, very long time, and
Yeah,
they've been very bad. And
7, 8 years, whatever it
yeah,
is.
it's it's ridiculous, and it did seem intentional. And I hope that he moves on to way bigger and better things, and leaves them in the rearview mirror, because that's a dick move. Not good, DC United. Um, let's see, and yeah, Danny Williams, hurt, out 3 weeks, which would, in theory, rule him out of the qualifiers. But was he really going to be called up anyway by
He
Bruce?
certainly wasn't in the list of players we're going to note on Thursday. But yeah, I don't. Kind of like we've discussed in some of our recent shows. Unless he gets a starting spot, and just tears up the Premiership, I can't see him really getting a chance at this point because I think Bruce has kind of set his depth chart, and he's far enough down that short of injuries or a just supreme season by him, I don't think he's going to get an opportunity between now and June, basically, to truly show something.
Yeah, he's going to slowly become one of these guys. I heard Terrence Boyd's name the other day, and I went, "Holy shit! I haven't heard of him in a long time." And who is the guy? The guy who plays for Pachuca that I texted you like 2 weeks
Oh,
ago? Torres.
Jose, yeah.
Yeah. I saw his, because Roger Bennett has him as his
Yeah.
avatar, and I looked at him like, when was the last time? Was it the 2013 Gold Cup? Was the last time we saw him? Like, there's some of these guys that just fall so far off the radar that you forget that they are even around. And I'm hoping that a guy playing in the Premier League doesn't go that direction. It seems like Danny Williams is on the rise right now, but if he was going to get an opportunity, he's not now, and that could sink him even further on Bruce's radar. So, but yeah, it's funny. I wasn't talking about Omar. I remember Omar, but he can be easy to forget, Jim. But yeah, there's these guys that they just fall off into nothing, and it's kind of sad. Who's going to be? It'll be a while, but Mixed Discarud, we're all going to laugh about.
Yeah,
we're not already. I mean, he's fallen, but he was he had a weirdly high profile for a guy who wasn't that great.
Yeah.
And so we haven't completely forgot about him for that.
When he got the number 10 jersey, that was sort of like, I don't know about that.
I feel like nobody wanted to touch that thing.
It's probably true.
And it kind of fell to him.
Nobody wanted to be the guy to follow Donovan.
Yeah.
Plus, I think under the circumstances, nobody really wanted to be the guy to follow Donovan. And maybe they thought, oh, come on, he's going to get a chance to come back or something. Who knows? But whatever. Somebody asked if Cameron is unable to play, who do you want playing in center back for these last two games? Let's just hope Cameron. Let's hope we have no more injuries everyone stays healthy for the next week and a half. Um, so nothing happens in the games this weekend, and nothing happens during training to prevent them from getting on the field next Friday. Who do you want to see? I think you probably end up going Omar and Beasler. Is that absolutely who I want? I mean, Omar hasn't looked great lately. Beasler has been fairly decent, but
Totally comfortable
Omar,
with Matt Beasler. Yeah.
yeah, I Omar more to me just falls to him by default. Like I don't know necessarily who to go to after that. Birnbaum hasn't gotten a chance lately.
No.
Uh,
The FC Dallas guys have.
I was just about to say I don't see either of the guys from Dallas coming in, Zimmerman or
Hedges.
Wyatt. Thank you. I'm like, Hedges hasn't looked great lately. Zimmerman did, but then didn't get called up again. So I just don't see. God, I assume it's going to Omar.
Can we see Matt Miazga, do you think? I mean, okay, we won't, but should we see Matt Miazga? He's been doing well. So
yeah, I mean, I see in the comments a lot of people are asking for him.
Yeah.
He just got called, or he just was named to the best starting 11 in the league last weekend. He's been playing well. I know he didn't have a starting job for like 2 weeks or something right at the very beginning, but I think he was also recovering from something right around then, so maybe that was part of it. But he's back to starting. He's back to playing well. I don't know what to say. I think he's a bit like Danny Williams. If he just tears everything up, and maybe come January, I don't know what Chelsea's deal with him is. Like, could he get shipped to someone else in January, or?
I can't keep track. He's one of their 89 loan guys now. So
yeah. I don't know what their loan deals are like. That if he outplays the league, could he get sent somewhere else for the spring? I don't know, but short of that, I just don't see. He's kind of like Danny Williams. I just don't see him getting an opportunity.
No,
you could probably say the same of Emerson Hyndman. Hyndman would have had an opportunity had he not gotten hurt at the beginning of right at the end of the season, early summer. I think he would have gotten the call up there, and it was certainly well deserved. Now he's got to get back into playing, back into the starting lineup, and play well. You have so many things that you got to make up in a few months. Because really, I think the lineup is pretty well. I think 23 have probably been selected by the time the March FIFA break comes around.
Probably.
I mean, barring injuries, it may be selected already. I mean, the more we've seen the lineups that Bruce has called in the last few games, the more I think the Gold Cup was really testing out those last 5 to 8 spots.
Yeah, which sucks because a guy like Weston McKennie should be able to play himself in, and maybe Bruce is open-minded and would look to one or two spots of guys like that are just playing so well that you can't ignore them. I hope that he doesn't have it penciled in his head and he's just waiting unless somebody gets hurt that this is what it's going to be. And why would you? I mean, that'd be. We question Bruce sometimes, but that'd be ridiculous to be so close-minded as to not take somebody who's doing well because you've already got your mind made up. But
he said,
for the most part,
he said when he took the job that there were 50 guys or something. He wasn't really looking to expand the pool size. That he might have some guys who were different than Jurgen had, but he wasn't necessarily looking to expand the size of the pool. So I do think we probably know who the 30. Well, Bruce has been calling too many guys, more guys than can make the roster in. So I was going to say the 30-man camp roster for next summer, but we probably know the 40 or whatever that he's actually going to call now. We'll see. Of course, everything goes out the window with a couple injuries, But I think for the most part, we know who they are. And I think based on his call-ups over the last few qualifiers, the Gold Cup meant something. Even the results were mixed.
There's Kenny Saif talk.
I was going to bring him up before. When does he get another shot? Because, hey, in his basically 5 minutes, he actually looked pretty good. But who knows?
That was like if you got a chance to play for the national team. It would have been 5 minutes, and then your hamstring would have melted or something, and then it'd be over. There'd be a story too, like you would have claimed that the ref knocked you down or something, and would have been the story would have grown over the years.
Coach should have put me in. We would have won that game. I could have gone to state in '83. I would have gone to the NFL. How much you want to bet I could throw this ball over the mountains?
Yeah, Kenny Saif. I remember when we were talking about him going into the Gold Cup, we're like, I don't really know what to expect from him. I still don't really know. I haven't really seen him. I can't really tell you. I can tell you that some people think highly of him, and so maybe he should get a chance. But I don't think October is the time to start giving guys a chance.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if well, kind of like the talk about should we Jules comment about Puerto Rico in November. Yeah, if these games go as they should, as we would have expected them to go, had I don't know last November not started just this horrible train wreck. Maybe it didn't start in November. Maybe if we consider that, a year and a half ago, we weren't sure in March if we were going to make the hex even. Had this whole qualifying cycle not been so kind of topsy-turvy or whatever, I think we could be looking at, here's your chance to experiment in November when you've got a FIFA break. You've got a bunch of guys who you might like to see more of. They've shown some capabilities, but they got hurt or they haven't had enough experience that you're necessarily ready to trust them, like Miazga. So we'll see. I don't know.
Sanders asking about Sebastian Lletget. Have we heard anything?
He's another one.
He's close to being back, right? Isn't that what?
Yeah, supposedly.
But then to be back with the national team, you're looking at January camp probably.
Yeah.
Does he play his way into a spot? I think when he was here, he looked really good. So I think
had he not gotten hurt, I don't know if we would have seen Cal Acosta over the last 6 months.
That's true. So that puts Bruce in a bit of a predicament there. But he is maybe Bruce's guy. We don't know what the relationship was at LA Galaxy, but certainly doesn't seem like Zardes and Bruce got along based on, maybe Bruce just didn't think that highly of him. But your wingback, by the way, Gyasi Zardes. I didn't see. I heard that's what they did. That's unbelievable. But
he is super fast, but
there is that.
The rest of it,
keep on pushing them back. But yeah, Lletget might be able to play his way back in. I don't think that Benny Feilhaber will, so that I don't think # Benny and Lletget will ever be a thing like we dreamed it would be a long time ago.
I think that ship has sailed. Christian, I can't disagree on some of your comments about McKennie. He didn't look bad. I won't say he looked bad in his game over the weekend. It's more that he just didn't kind of look like anything. Like he had a couple good touches, but he also did some things where he dropped back too far or went up too far and left a man open, left space that then was exploited. And was it Cologne? Who did Schalke play on Saturday? I can't think of it now. But the first goal really should have been was really his man that he let slide. There was a later possession in the first half, I think, in which he went up looking to get a ball at the top of the box, and the ball went somewhere else, play went somewhere else, and instead he left his man standing wide open with plenty of space, and they just played the ball right to him, and it was a counterattack. At the same time, he did show a couple nice things. I mean, there was one loose ball that he jumped on at the top of the box. He shanked his shot, but it was a good read of the play to see what was going to happen, jump on it, um, and take his opportunity. But the one thing I thought, it really seemed like for a lot of the game that it was kind of like his own teammates weren't passing to him. And that makes me suspect something, because that makes me wonder if either he needs more practice with them and they just haven't trusted him, or they don't have confidence in him yet. And in that case, it's hard for anybody to succeed.
Yeah, that's not a good sign. Jim wanted to know a while ago if we've forgiven Timmy Chandler. I don't know that I have, but I said before I would like to see him one more time.
I mean,
I need to know.
with the injuries we've had, and when I don't know, Zusi is the next choice. Like God love Graham Zusi. I can't say anything necessarily about him. Like I feel bad tearing him down, because it's not like he's not trying or anything. I mean, we can hammer Chandler because it looks like he's not trying.
Exactly.
But Zusi seems to be trying. He's just so slow. And I'm sorry, it's not his natural position. And while Bruce has history, and successful history, of converting midfielders to fullbacks, it still just seems like you're shoehorning this in with a guy who has trouble competing against one of the greatest strengths of some of our main opponents.
Agreed. Yes.
So I don't get it. I mean, I would rather see Chandler as the backup to DeAndre if something happens, than Graham Zusi. I mean, let Zusi be an absolute like stopgap, but okay, then fine. I'm willing to take Bruce's word that Zusi's better than Lehigh. Whatever, I'll accept that one. I can't accept that Zusi is our second best right back, or at least second best who isn't already starting, perhaps in the center.
It's weird because I like him. He plays hard for us. He does a decent job, but it's like a lot of the guys on the team. I wish we had a better option.
Yeah.
It seems like by now we should. I don't know. All right.
Well, I mean, you can put him in the group of guys who are going to turn over after this next World Cup. A year from now, year and a half from now, we should be looking at, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 perhaps guys who are 22 and younger, certainly under 25, I would say, playing for our national team.
Viewer number 1 is here, by the way. Christian from Creates
Hey.
Videos. Sandra, yes, McKinney I thought was fine against Bayern. We talked about that in the last show, but
yeah, he wasn't bad against Bayern. It was this past weekend against was it Cologne? I can't remember who they played now. I remember watching the game.
The Bayern game was midweek. It was like a Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
I watched that. I did not watch over the weekend. So, all right. I think on Thursday we're going to tell you who we think is going to make the roster for the final 2 qualifiers. Hopefully the final 2 qualifiers in
Hoffenheim. Thank you, guys.
October. So far, none of you have told us any of the people who are going to be on the roster ahead of time. So if anybody wants to, that'd be great. We could break some more news.
If anybody has some secrets, and we're not saying just like drop us crazy ideas, but like if anyone actually stumbles across some news, they have some connection.
If you happen to have seen who's on the team, maybe let us know again. We appreciate that sort of thing. So, this is US Fan TV. The website is usfantv.com. We have Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, and they are all US Fan TV. I applied to get our Twitter verified. So we'll see if we get the blue check mark anytime soon.
Come on, blue check mark.
I tried like 5 months ago, and they said, you suck. You are not going to be verified. But now I think, come on. We got people now. We can do this. So we'll see if I get that. We don't like Snapchat you know where to find us on Craigslist. And of course, we have YouTube. You know that because you're watching. We have over 700 subscribers now, more than 700 subscribers, if I'm going to use correct English. So thank you. It's amazing to us that you're all here. So thanks for being here. We like you. And if you have not subscribed, do so and tell all of your friends to do the same, and then sign up for a bunch of different accounts and also subscribe.
And then run all of them back to watch our show.
If you could create a bot or something that helps us, that'd be good. We would like that. So yeah, and if you could have them just constantly watch our shows, good. We like it. So I do love when we like get a comment. There's two types of comments we get on really old videos. It's either Mexicans making fun of us, which is fair. Or there's like, have you guys not figured out how to monetize your whatever? And like some sort of, or it's like a fake porn scam thing. I love those. And it's like a video we did like in January. I'm like, oh, okay. So yeah, so we don't appreciate those, but we appreciate everything else. Even the Mexicans making fun of us. You know what? You watched our video. That helps. So make fun away. Plus, we have been on record many times as saying we like when the rivalry is angry. So please feel free. We deserve to be made fun of. What's left? Do you have any final words?
I have nothing else. Thank you for everyone. Whatever. You're done.
All right. We'll see you Thursday. You are done.